let's give this a try. Tell you what. Aloha. Welcome to my channel, All Good Things and All Good Times. It's always a good day to be alive. Never done this before at the beach, so maybe the wind, the sound will be intrusive, but the wind is right behind me, so hopefully I've blocked some of it out, all this hair. It is always a good day to be alive. Cheers to you. Boy, the world is crazy, but I have good news. It's not nationally good news, but it's personally good news. I'm back in school and it's going pretty good. I really like my classes. And they're all classes that I should have taken a long time ago, maybe. I'm pretty sure I'm going to take like so many, maybe all the classes I take in the future. I'm going to wish I had taken before. Let me just check the camera, make sure it's working. All right, I got one person. That's pretty exciting. Okay. I can't see the screen. I'm using the better side of the phone because that way I think you'll be able to see the ocean to some extent behind me. The other camera will just white out. So school's going pretty good. Trying to get a theater to rent out to do comedy, and I think I'm getting closer. But until I get someone to take my money and let me tell jokes, nothing's happening. So, but I think there's going to be good news on that subject soon. Recently, my GoFundMe account was hit by this just like an angel who's like a person, and she put $1,500 in my GoFundMe 2 years after the fire. So that was pretty exciting and inspiring, and I'm thankful. And so that was pretty uplifting. Just when I needed, I just registered my car. It was almost $400, etc. And tuition. And one of the classes I'm taking is an art class, and I've never really taken an art class other than the class I just took, which was photography. But that's different, right? Because you're not fabricating it with your hands. And it is such a cool class. I've decided I want to take every art class I can in community college. So I imagine that art classes everywhere are really cool classes to take. Of course, Jane Fonda recently came out and explained that they'll add 8 years to your life. So, or 7.5. Let's just round up. So, gee whiz. All the bad news remains the same bad news, you know. Terrible things are happening. People are getting killed with guns and bullets and bombs in so many places by several terrible people, and it's tragic. But nevertheless, you know, I think we should all feel compelled to still do the best we can to enjoy life the most we can and be the best person we can, and you know. So, and I've been exercising. Now, I have been not making videos. This is the first episode of the Craig-Bradley podcast, which I may include interviews, but if not, I talk a lot, so it will be easy for me to just talk a lot. There's been so much bad news lately, and there's been so many frightening threats being made by our government against us that it's mind-boggling. All right, but nevertheless, I've been exercising. Finally got the habit. I've been training pretty much every day, going to the gym and or swimming every day, and then the gym has multiple things going on. Finally lifting some weights, and I'm doing a ton of cardio, and I'm swimming about a half mile a day. So I'm working on it, but I also sometimes eat sugar lately. You know, start working out, and you think, oh, I can get away with it. And so, yeah, my weight has leveled off, but I have lost about 20 pounds. And hoping to keep the pedal to the metal, keep losing weight, and hit next paddling season in really good shape. I'd like to be an asset. I think I have about 60 more pounds to lose. So, yeah, and school, I'm taking a screenwriting class, which is cool. Who knows? What if I wrote a screenplay for a, TV show or a movie someday? I guess the thing is, which is really interesting, I didn't know this so rightfully as I do now. When it comes to a screenplay, it has to be perfect according to certain rules, the structure of it, the punctuation, the font, the size of the letters, everything, the spacing has to be a certain way. Capital letters, there's a whole structure to capitalization of letters. And everything has to be perfect in order to just submit a screenplay, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. It has to follow these rules or no one will even look at it, which is really interesting. I did not know that per se so specifically, and now I do. So that, I think, is its own lesson in and of itself. But I have been somehow keeping up at school. I'll have these screenplays due at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'll start at 6:30 in the morning, even though I've had a week to get it done. But I'm getting it done. So far, I'm keeping up. And then I'm taking this film critics class, which is really interesting. Should have done that before if you've never taken a class in film criticism. Another way of looking at a film criticism class is it's watch a movie class, right? You go to class and you just watch a movie, and that's fun and interesting, and then you write about it, right? The guy who teaches the class is the film critic for our local newspaper, which is unfortunately no longer 7 days a week, but he's still there. There's still something there for him to be a critic at, a place for that, which is good. I'm sure I don't know how else he gets himself out there, but he's a really great, interesting guy, local guy, has a really interesting story, and he's been at it for a long time. So that's a cool class. And then I'm taking this business class on how to write your own business plan, and that's in coordination with the Maui County Economic Opportunity, Maui Economic Opportunity, and MEO. And if I get off my ass, I've been attending class, virtually, but I haven't been doing any work. And at the end of it, or at any point, like right now, if I just write a business plan, then I'll have a chance at some grants and stuff. So I need to just do that. I think you can just get AI to help you. And my business plan is so simple. I think I could just write it out because it's so simple. And that's for a place for comedy with no alcohol, where I just sell tickets and people come in and there is comedy and then they leave. And then merchandise will be something that is just a constant project from day one for a little area between here and there, and that's the whole business model. What I'm selling costs nothing, right? Jokes cost nothing. So, yeah. Hope it's not too windy. And then, of course, the sound of the ocean might be a good thing, might be a bad thing, Tim Dillon does his show with a fake background, but I figured this is the real thing. way better. So, yeah, and then there's a film festival coming here. It's a new film festival, and my professor in one of my classes is in charge of the whole thing. And that's going to be next summer. And one of the categories is ocean sports, which I have passion for in many ways, but there's more ways I could because I don't do all the ocean sports. And now that I'm getting in shape, learning how to surf becomes an option, which is cool because I never have really learned how to surf. I can stand up paddle. I'm a good swimmer. I've paddled the Molokai Channel many times. I've participated in a lot of catching waves, but not on a surfboard as a surfer. So that's an option. And then every other sport's an option now that I'm getting in shape, right? Now that my legs are in shape, I could snow ski. I could learn to snowboard. I snow skied as a kid, so I had those skills. I could water ski. This is pretty cool, as I become an old man, to have all these options, at least for now, until parts break on me. Things are still working. So, yeah, there's all these benefits that I'm suddenly realizing thanks to all this hard work I'm doing. But it's really a way to procrastinate, right? I do my exercise now before everything, and then sometimes I don't get around to doing anything else. So, like making content. I don't think I'm going to do the god-awful news anymore. It was god-awful while I did it, and now it's going from, if I were to change the name more appropriately, it would be something like the news before the Armageddon. Because news is getting so bad. It's getting so bad. It does not look like we are headed in a good direction at all, and that we are in any way safe, any of us. Whether we need health care or we're not a right-wing white supremacist, right? And even them are getting destroyed. And the farmers are getting destroyed. Everybody, veterans, the poor. It's yeah, and then the expansion of these officers that have masks on. This judge recently explained that our country has never tolerated having masked, unidentified, I forget what he called them, soldiers or police, apprehending people without due process. Anyway, a judge came out and spoke up against this fascism. And that was really interesting because Trump is just now criminalized not being in support of Christianity, of MAGA, of all their fake stuff. Not if your interests aren't aligned with the United States of America, which is their psychotic view of the world. You are now potentially a terrorist, which is like 75% of our country. So it's insane. It's crazy what's materializing with these crazy people. And Trump is just nuts. He seems to potentially, obviously, maybe be going through, some dementia, and people go a little mad in that process. And it seems like, he was just recently talking about ships not looking good, stealth ships not looking good. Who gives a shit? What matters is that they function well as destroyers, that they're fast through the water, that they're undetectable, and that they're built strong enough to withstand impacts, which they do all of those things, and they have all kinds of lethality that he doesn't understand. Anyway, interestingly, although it was still 20-something years ago, my friends here at Canoe Beach and I put on a barbecue for all the officers of this ship, the USS Lassen, which was the newest destroyer at the time. And one of the officers was a guy I grew up with. And so we took them out canoe paddling, and then the next day they had us on board and took us on a private tour of the whole ship. It was so cool. I'm not sure if we were supposed to go everywhere we went. But it was so cool. My good friend Mike Buden jumped off the bow of the ship, because that's the kind of people I hang out with. Crazy guys. They're a lot of fun to be with. Yeah, I love that guy. And I paddled against him, I think, a little bit this season. Yeah. Anyway. So, yeah, this is the Craig-Bradley podcast. Cheers to you, everybody. We're talking story here at the beach. I got a new local joke for you. It's pretty good. It's kind of the only joke of this category I know. Don't really know any Samoan jokes per se. There's one common joke for the punchline is falafel sofa, and then there's the sticker Sofa Kingdom. That's I think like the Samoan joke, just the word Sofa Kingdom, Sofa Kingdom, Sofa Kingdom, but what's the first part of every Samoan joke? Look around, make sure no one can hear you. This guy, the lifeguard told me that at the pool the other day. I thought that was a pretty good local joke, kind of joke you'll only hear here in Hawaii. And then of course, because the right has such a difficult time defining what a man is, I'm going to speak to that again today. So first of all, a man, any kind of real man, fights for women, with women, lockstep, with women, for women's rights, right? Not against women, not against their right to vote, right to reproductive health care. No real man would ever do that, right? Because that's voting to put women in harm's way. So, and to take away their rights. That's not manly. Of course, any real man he loves the diversity of America, right? Like, why wouldn't anyone love diversity? And some people just walked up over here to the right and they just like staring this way. Don't know what they're doing. Anyway. Alright, I'm in a public space, so what was the second one? Sorry. I've been doing everything I can to slow down my thinking process. Oh, alcohol. Let's just skip subjects and move around. Alcohol. As you've probably already heard, it is there is no good amount of alcohol now. Like, you can't rationalize it no matter how hard you try. And our enemy as old people is a shrinking brain and or a brain that is drying out. Apparently that's our doom. We want to keep our brains moist and from shrinking. Alcohol does that. So I'm hoping to just quit alcohol completely, I think. I have pretty much eliminated my cravings for it, but I still keep it around. I have a few in my fridge right now, a few local ciders, our local lifeguard. Keeping us safe. There's a Bill 9, all the corporations and the people representing those who want to just exploit Hawaii, right? 87% of all the housing north of here isn't for the people that live here, right? Way too much vacation rentals, way too many. Um, and there's a bill to reduce that amount or to eliminate some of it to some extent. I don't know the exact details. And that's good for our community, coming out of the fire. It's good, but there's this, of course, expensive ad campaign now being run by those who don't care and who aren't from here and aren't part of this community. And of course, they're advertising, vote no on Bill 9 because it'll reduce your tax revenues. We are always going to be awash in tax revenues because we're always going to have tourists coming here. And staying in a hotel is just fine. A lot of hotel space. We don't need all the tourism that we get. We could use a little less. No locals. Yeah, so they're framing it like, oh, you're going to lose your services government provides for you and all this other stuff. And no, we'll be fine, I'm sure. Like, visitors, like because of the hotel taxes, okay? If you're not aware, there's an extra tax put on everybody that stays in hotels. And that's a good thing, and it gives us a source of income in addition to all the sales tax that's generated from the tourist dollars that you spent here in restaurants and shops and all that other stuff. The state does pretty well, the county does pretty well. The things that it can monetize, it has, and so anyway, yeah. There's just a whole bunch of ads. We're just being flooded with ads saying, oh, don't do this to yourself. Don't give up on all this tax money you could get from all these tourists. Keeping 87% of the housing for tourists only is not a good business model. And that is, part of everybody's concern coming out of the fire. So, that's interesting. Just like when Monsanto, we were trying to vote them away from Maui County, which we succeeded at doing, but they put all these ads out, to the contrary. Oh, you're going to lose jobs. And then they just sued us into submission somehow and continued to do business here, and now I think they own like 40,000 acres. And they're growing, presumably genetically modified, or whatever it is they're growing. So, God, I hope I can get this comedy show going. I found this guy who's got a lot of experience. He's owned a comedy club on the East Coast. He's been here for 10 years. He's got a real job. And he has already put together small comedy shows and stuff. So, but he does it himself. He's a stand-up comic himself. And so, the two of us are gonna, appear. And then before that, I'm gonna try to get some guys who either have never done it, haven't done it in a long time, people who are either born and raised here or deeply connected in one pocket or another, so as to give people an opportunity to see if they can do it or to whatever, have a big crowd. I mean, that's a luxury you're just never going to get. Should be interesting and entertaining, but also should help sell some tickets, right? Everyone's connected to everybody on this island, so I figure if I can tap into as many communities as I can in the build up to it, be a joiner, I'm joining a club at school, get back in a philanthropic club like the Rotary Club, and what better thing could you have to promote than comedy, right? Like that'll be the funnest thing. It'll be like running for mayor, except you're selling something that is just 100% enjoyable and is not politics. But fun to campaign for, right? A show, or then after the first one, some more after that. It'd be the ultimate dream to be able to do comedy here, and not have to go anywhere else. That'd be so awesome. I don't I don't really have a need to do comedy anymore. I think it would be just the funnest thing ever to just do it here, and to ultimately be a draw, you know. But anyway, so that's that. So yeah, just had a half-mile ocean swim, and I'm gonna try to exercise some more. Great way to procrastinate. I got a ton of homework to do. I've got some art homework I want to show you that I've been learning about. It's called this, I never would have known any of this stuff, lino cut, where you cut out linoleum. Believe it or not, linoleum is this thing that's been used for a long time to make printing plates. So, and it kind of is an opportunity for anybody to become an artist, because you can get this lino cut and you can trace anything with the carbon paper right onto it, and then with the little digging tool you dig it out along the lines, right? And you can make, it's the kind of thing you can print t-shirts with, for instance, right? So you could take, and then by the time you've done that, you've changed whatever it was, you know, making it no longer someone else's art, right? It now becomes yours. And so you're not like violating someone's rights. It could be a picture, it could be a diagram, it could be anything, right? Any graphic. And then you could print stuff on paper, you could print t-shirts. It's really cool. And then and become an artist by just tracing and then digging out in and around the lines, and the more you practice doing it, the better you'll get at it. And it's pretty amazing what my fellow art students are accomplishing. I've done some stuff already that's interesting. I think I can do a lot better. I'm starting to get better at digging. I'm realizing it's its own skill, you know. But gee whiz, heck, so I'm gonna, heck you gonna do? News getting worse every day. The Charlie Kirk whole thing is just psychotic, psychos. We all know Republicans are psychos. We also know that they raise their kids to become shooters, right? And the problem with guns, I've talked about this before, that I've never heard anybody else talk about, and that is from day one. When you grow up with them or not, the presence of guns creates gun imaginary scenarios. And it starts, you know, with, like, let's say you buy a gun, you bring it home. First thing you're going to do is have to contemplate where and how you're going to store that said weapon, that shotgun or that revolver or whatever it is. Is it going to have bullets in it? Are the bullets going to be separate from it? Is one of the bullets or the gun, are they going to be in a safe? What would you do if someone was at your door? How would you go get those things quickly enough to protect you and your family, right? It becomes sort of a gun fantasy of how I'm going to use this weapon that I've just brought home to protect my loved ones. You know, there's nothing wrong with you having that. I don't think you can avoid it, right? But then other gun fantasies, you know, you realize, oh, if I wanted to, I could take my own life, I could take anyone's life, even though, of course, it's against the rules. It's always an option, which isn't really a good thought, but I don't think anyone can avoid having it when you've got firearms around you, because it's just an obvious truth, right? And then there's the other gun fantasies. And then, you know, if you decide you really don't like somebody so much, you might have fantasies of using a weapon against somebody, right? Because you have the weapon, you can have these imaginary scenarios, right? I don't have a weapon, so I don't have these scenarios going through my mind. But when I grew up with them, I got my first shotgun for my birthday when I was 12. And that was a 20 gauge. I got a 12 gauge automatic with a poly choke when I was 14. So I grew up, and then I could roam freely on this property with ammunition and my gun, shooting whatever I wanted growing up. but most kids don't grow up with a big piece of property that they can do that on, and so, and I was taught gun etiquette by my dad, firing line principles, and you know, so I understand these thoughts, and of course, if you've got a gun right there all the time, if you ever have just one suicidal moment in your life, you can end your life quickly without hesitation, in seconds. And the people that succeed at ending their lives use guns to do it. Everyone else seems to fail. So, and then of course, if you do have a rough patch in life and you think suicidal thoughts and you actually get suicidal and you think you want to take your own life, there's a fine line between that and becoming homicidal, right? Once you become suicidal, homicide becomes a potential option for you if in your deranged way of thinking, because you're going to die anyway. So if there's people you have a grudge against, and so on. And I think that's probably the simple thought process that goes on for these people that plan on killing themselves right after they kill other people. I think that's their plan. They go into it, they go kill other people, and then they take their own lives, like we see all the time. And we had 4 mass shootings in one day, a couple days ago. I mean, it's crazy. But what killed Charlie Kirk are Republican gun laws. They kill every time someone's killed by a gun. It's Republican gun laws, especially assault rifles, high velocity rifles. And then, of course, all this stuff, I watched some very compelling evidence of the fact that some people think that the bullet came from a different direction. It entered on the right and it exited right down here, coming here. And then how he came off the roof without a gun, seemingly, which would be really hard to break down and put together. An old, I think, a Mossberg 30-06 with a scope. And the suspicion that was AI, because there's some inconsistencies. Maybe the guy running across the roof, jumping off the roof, was AI fabrication, crazy. Then the suspicion that the words written in the text were fake. Of course, we heard that the trans roommate, who he had a relationship with, the shooter of Charlie Kirk, he's cooperating, but we haven't heard him, we haven't seen him, we haven't seen him interviewed. What sort of hold do they have over him? Where is he? Why? I mean, right? Like, there's no, I don't know, the whole thing, that part of it makes all the rest of those conspiracy theories seem even more potentially true. But they're still just, of course, conspiracy theories. We'll hopefully find out. Ultimately, there'll be real proof and evidence, and but maybe it'll just be obfuscated, like JFK, like forever. And man, that's weird. And then the part where they go after anybody that points out that he said, well, so we're going to have a certain amount of gun deaths in order to keep our God-given rights, to protect our other God-given rights, or whatever it was he said, something like that. I mean, and then when he died, ironically, he's under a tent that says, "Prove me wrong." And of course, I mean, sadly and disturbingly, what none of us needed to see was another gun death, like live action style. But of course, one happened just 2 hours later in Colorado, and it was triple Trumpers kids, and who was a little white supremacist kid, 16-year-old, who killed himself, killing other people in high school. And this kid grew up with MAGA parents and MAGA grandparents, immersed in guns. And, I mean, a young man's brain doesn't fully develop till he's 24, 25 years old. Let's just make gun possession prohibited until your brain's fully developed, unless, of course, you join the military. And then I guess all bets are off. But which is why we can manipulate them so well, perhaps. Nevertheless, and of course, not only did I have to assume that there was just 90% plus probability that the parents of whoever it was are Trump supporters and Trump voters and Republicans, because they seem to raise all the shooters if they're not them themselves, the majority of the time. There's all the people now who have got to have some reason for revenge, whether it's, in this case, someone who was grew up with gun fantasies and then had a reason to hate someone because they were targeting him because he realized he's gay. And that his whole ecosystem that he grew up in hates those people for no good reason, right? For just ignorant, because they're ignorant. So, yeah, it's just all the time. This guy who drove into the Mormon church and then killed a bunch of people, and then I think he killed himself too. He was a Trump supporter, right? And they're always worried, oh, I hope it's not one of ours. And now they're trying to say that Democrats are the threat here, not the white supremacists with their sick ideologies going after everybody, whether it's Jews, Mormons, Christians, children, people in grocery stores. It's crazy. And so, yeah, they're just trying to weaponize all of this against anyone who they can perceive as or demonstrate isn't a right-wing psychopath. And it's like 1 out of 10. So, anyway, it's crazy. It's crazy. And there's so much swirling around all that. But, yeah. And now his wife, his widow, is trying to profit from all this, and she's like all excited about old videos of him that no one's ever seen. The whole thing is weird. And then the weirdo guys that don't know how to define what it means to be a man. They're trying to emerge and take the spotlight and monetize this guy's death. It's all very crazy. But that's what they're going to be doing. They're going to be for any excuse. Oh, they're going to create a problem, and then people can come out and protest, and they're going to say it's the protesters, which is why we need to do all this harm to people. Or it's because of this one mass shooter that we need to do harm to the trans community, or yeah, etc. Right? Everything's an excuse to take away people's rights. Anyway, it's a scary moment in life, and one has to wonder. So yeah, you just had to go down the list. Is it somebody who lost their mom because she just had her oxygen taken away, or they were in a veteran, one of the 400,000 veterans that just lost their health care, that is maybe dying now? Somebody whose mom committed suicide because she lost her house because she was fired by the federal government 6 months ago. A terminally ill person who is no longer going to get their treatment. I mean, there's so many possible scenarios of people who've been harmed or wronged, or someone who loved an immigrant, or is a kid or a parent of an immigrant who's been brutally beaten to the ground by mass unidentified agents. I mean, there's got to be just so many people who have a direct grudge, reasons to be pissed off, and now the government has gone even further. Every time there's one of their abuses of power, like this big ugly murder bill, what now? All these dangerous weapons by all these people who own too many dangerous weapons, who are unstable, they can all have silencers now? That makes us all less safe. So I have a friend in Idaho that just got into guns, and he is never going to support any Republicans as long as he lives. If anything, he mentioned, if anything, I got to protect myself from my crazy MAGA neighbors. But he's got all these. Can I show you my guns? He never had guns before. He'd go to the shooting range, and they all have silencers because in Idaho you already could have silencers, and that's just interesting. Weird. I didn't grow up in a world with silencers. I grew up in a world with you put on earphones when you shot guns. You know. Crazy, but the truth is, the hell we need a gun for anyway? Did I need one to get down here to the beach to be safe in this threatening environment? I mean, come on. And guns don't ever protect you from other guns. They just hurl bullets back at people with other guns. They don't stop the bullets coming at you, right? But yeah, Republican gun laws, especially since 2004, when Republicans decided to unleash military-grade weapons on the American people, which was not cool, very dangerous, and has cost many, many lives since. Many of which are women and children. Not that all the other deaths aren't just as important, but I just can't imagine anyone ever voting for mass shootings, which is what a Republican vote is. Anybody voting for murdering women by taking away their health care, which is what taking away their reproductive health care does. It kills women. We know that, right? And then there's these young weirdos that want to vote against the environment also. Like, how does that make any sense? I mean, don't you like this environment? The Earth is a special place. Although, man, I mean, these right-wing psychos are ravaging it right now. And the worst thing is, because we're becoming such an asshole country, every country in the world, all the countries that used to hate us still do, but they're pretending not to some extent, like Russia. And countries that used to like us now have reasons not to like us. They were already annoyed by our arrogance, but now it's just on blast, and we're abusing them in every way we can. With tariffs, with immigration, we're abusing tourists. It's the tourism industry is suffering, right? Our economy's suffering. The stock market's going up, but our economy's shrinking. It's really hard to understand, but not if you realize that corporations are being asked to pay less and less in taxes, and they're able to abuse their powers more and more against the environment, against the individual. All of our protections are being stripped away. The government, the protections for the environment, the protections for the individual. So, yeah. What else is it talking about? There's so much going on in the world. Gee whiz heck, son of a gun. I've been applying for jobs, so that's good. What else? But yeah, I've been eating right pretty much, except for the sugar thing. And I've been exercising more than I've ever exercised in some respects. I used to go to the gym a lot, but I didn't always start out with an hour of cardio. So I'm doing more cardio, I think, than I've ever done. And that's a good thing. I always have weaknesses. Like, I don't do abs or legs or whatever, but when you do cardio, at least you're doing your legs to some extent. Yeah, I'm sorry, I bet there's just a lot of noise other than me. The road noise and the ocean right now, and the truck going by. Anyway. Oh. So, what else? There's so much going on. But yeah, what blocks everything out is all the frightening, like, abominations that are being done to our Constitution. things Pete Hegseth is doing, the things that Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, oh, his crazy wife is. Just saw her on a panel with asshole Piers Morgan and what's that Dershowitz guy who was Epstein's best buddy and who participated in the same crimes, and he's out there in public. Why would you still have your face out there in public? I would just go on vacation somewhere, go to your private home somewhere, and just enjoy a small life. 'Cause, I mean, I think so many people see Alan Dershowitz and just see, somebody complicit in all the same crimes that Epstein is complicit in. And I wouldn't want to be out there being seen knowing that that's what everybody thinks of me. But the woman whose life ended, Virginia Dupree, accused him, I think, credibly of assaulting her, directly. I don't see any reason why we should, dispute her claim. And the circumstances of her death are very suspicious. She had recently said, "I am not suicidal," just like Martin Keller Green just said. There's this weird divide, the people who just can't tolerate watching the slaughter of the Palestinian people, which is anyone with a soul, and these Israeli supporters who are getting paid or they're being threatened. No one's really sure. Oh, how about Tom Homan being given $50,000 in cash in a bag by the FBI, and now they just threw out that whole investigation immediately. And that had happened back in September. But just imagine, for that one bag of cash you took, how many other bags of cash are going to all these Republicans, all these corrupt people, in all these corrupt ways to do all the corrupt things they're doing, like manipulating the stock market. How many bags of cash have been given away for, inside information about, crushing Tylenol or whatever, lifting the tariffs, etc. The market's being manipulated a lot, and it's crazy. And all the people who would have protected us from the fraud and the con men, they've been fired. It's so disheartening to see the game of firing people. Like everything is a talk show where everyone gets fired. Just like Trump played on TV, right? He wants to be that character in real life, and he has succeeded. It's crazy. Anyways, I've been taking a break. I've been procrastinating, scraping by, trying not to spend any money. The only money I spend is on driving to the gym, the gas for that, and food that is a combination of the cheapest food I can buy, and we have a store over here that's helping all the refugees, and I can go there once every 2 weeks, get a few things. So I'm just trying to keep a tiny life, one where I celebrate not spending any money. I'm gonna go for a swim here. I've been swimming at Airport Beach. That's a really beautiful place to visit. I never really had that on my recommendations list, like for the best places to go for a tourist, because I've been giving advice to people for a long time here in Hawaii, in Maui on the west side. And Airport Beach is really a great place to visit for sunrise, sunset, middle of the day. It's a great place to swim, have an ocean swim. There's a lot of other shark bait in the water, so you feel like I hug the coast, and I can swim up and down the coast and assume that if there was a shark coming around, that you know, it would be distracted by one of the tourists splashing around. So, yeah, what else is going on? Yeah, the military all being called together, and then that weird speech about, shaming fat, overweight people. Oh my God. Oh, how's this? I saw some racist bigot with one of those red hats at Costco, and I felt bad about not insulting him. Parts of me really wish I had just said, and all the things you think about afterwards, which is, that's my PTSD, I'm pretty sure. I am triggered by these guys, because it's basically like wearing a hat. It just gives the middle finger to almost everybody, especially in a place like this. And especially now that all these, Republicans are just the party of crime and injustice, harm and crime is all they're committing. So, yeah, I need to stay away from people with red hats. Luckily, there are very few of them here. You don't see people wanting to be that here very often. Although now, because they have all the power and they're being abusive, some people want to celebrate that. It's really weird. I just can't imagine being that kind of a person. But yeah, how long do we all have before the secret police, the death squads, the brown shirts come to people's front doors and start knocking them down just because they voted for Kamala, or because they're registered Democrats, or because of something they said online, or said on YouTube or TikTok. I don't think we have good things coming. Here comes a lifeguard going by on a 4x, little ATV. Pardon the noise. So yeah, canoe season's just about over. I think the Molokai Channel races for men is coming up, and then it's over until next year. The high school season begins soon. That works through the fall. And then there's the one-man canoe season that begins in like December. And then that leads right back into the summer regatta canoe season, which then leads into the distance season, which is finishing up right now. So I have all this time to train between now and next year, which is cool. It's like having a high school sport, or a college sport to train for. Instead of just trying to get self-motivated to go to the gym, just to go to the gym. It's nice. It's nice having a sport, which is pretty much the greatest sport on the planet, without any sport being anywhere close to it. So all these beautiful chickens around me. Oh yeah, I used a picture of a chicken from right here. We got the best parking lot chickens. I want to make a coffee table, a local coffee table book called Maui has the best parking lot chickens. To show off all of our beautiful roosters from all the different parking lots. Because that's what you see everywhere you go. These beautiful, they have all these fighting, the bloodlines of fighting chickens who are living in the parking lots, parking lot bum chickens. But everybody loves them. A lot of people feed them. And it might be a food source someday if we ever need it, right? So. And what else? Oh, I'm going horizontal, not vertical. When you go vertical, you can just scroll up through the vertical ones, and I think we get more views that way potentially, at least right away or at first. So I'm rebelling against that. I'm showing you this whole. The wind has died down. I'm gonna raise this up a little so you can have a better perspective, maybe a better shot. There you go. That's a little better, right? Oh, look at this beautiful chicken. The hens are even, like beautiful. They have cool markings. Anyway, what else is going on? The town. I need to go through the town and show you the town. Parts of it are like 10 to 20% built back, and then some parts are just like 5%, like very little built back. Parts I don't want to show you up close because there's been a lot of theft, and I don't want to antagonize anybody that doesn't want cameras in their neighborhood, and they got signs up, so I'm just going to be, respectful. But yeah. What else? It's football season. It's pretty weird how they had memorials to Charlie Kirk in the football stadiums. The guy was a Nazi youth leader, accurately described. Doesn't mean he should have been murdered. We should have less guns, and if we did, we'd have less murder, especially in the hands of young men who were raised by insane Republican voters. God, these parents, these politicians who put assault rifle, military grade weapons in their children's hands for Christmas pictures. Talk about politically mentally ill. That is political mental illness if I've ever seen it. And the religious mental illness that goes along with it. Oh my God, these people that are just so much better than everybody else, and they think they have morals, and yet they're in favor of all this harm being done. They celebrate it. It's just the weirdest confluence of things to observe. What are you going to do? It's bewildering. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on going to school and working out and trying to get a comedy show. I do need to learn how to do a lot of stuff with social media better. So hopefully I'll work on that more. But I think basically my fractured brain, fractured from the experience of the fire here, is less fractured now. I think going to school has been a very healthy thing to do. Got a little noisy little chick over here. But yeah, and if I could keep not working or just not get hired, even though I'm applying for work, I hear you. Okay. Yeah, just chirping it up. Anyway, it's this mid-size. Anyway, so life is good, huh? It's a good day to be alive. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, going to school, trying to get a comedy show, trying to get better at what I'm doing. Next semester, I'm gonna challenge myself. I think I'm gonna try to take either maybe Hawaiian language 1, or maybe accounting 1, or class in welding. I'm just not sure, but every college course, what I was contemplating yesterday was that, you never take a college course twice, typically, right? And every college course is different, and there are hundreds, if not thousands of them out there, right? Everything from history to welding to languages to art, music classes, computer. I mean, it's just endless. Science, so many subjects, right? And so I really like the idea of going to school like a little bit, taking maybe at least one class like for the rest of my life till my brain doesn't function well enough to be able to handle it. That'll be a good canary in the coal mine. At the moment I can't remember stuff well enough to pass or get an A. I'm getting A's, so that's cool. I'm in the honors society, but the moment I can't do that, I'll be like, oh shit. Time to start looking at all those brain supplements or up my coconut oil intake or whatever it is I can do to keep my brain from shriveling and drying up. Um, and yeah, and I'm just gonna have faith, that miracles are gonna keep happening. Since for my whole life, but also since the moments right after the fire, I had this feeling. I knew in my heart that good things were going to happen. I just didn't know what they were going to be. And I have the same feeling right now. There's a lot of unexpected good stuff that's ahead. Hopefully for all of us. But I expect it in my life that I don't know what it's going to be, how it's going to manifest, what it's going to materialize. But my good fortune, for whatever reason, is just going to keep going, regardless of the things I can't control. As if I could control my good luck, but if you want to call it that, I don't know. Anyway, things have gone incredibly well since those low moments right after the fire when I was living in a parking lot. Wondering what I was going to do with my life, right? Who knew I would be put up oceanfront? Now for still safety and security of an apartment with a bathroom and a kitchen. Also has an ocean view. I don't even need the ocean view. The bathroom and the kitchen are what I. But my God, who could have expected that? Not me. The help I received through GoFundMe, I couldn't have expected that. And the support from you guys, and so on. So a lot of positive unexpecteds obviously have come, but I expect even more of them. So yeah, this is Hanaka'au Beach. It is a public, I think it's a state beach, state park beach. There's no admission to get in. There's a lifeguard station.